Dunsmore moving dirt. Just got the Dozer moved in on a different job site than where I have been. We've been on one place for a little over 2 months. Some acreage that a customer had bought, and I cleaned out, or enlarged 3 stock tanks and went around all the fences and cleared right away so they could check on the fence. And then where there was a set of pens and stuff and an old barn, and cleaned all that up, made that look almost like a park. And there was an old pond there that we just put everything in and covered it up because it wasn't hold water, it was on sand. And we're on some more property in Wichita County now, north of where we was at working for so long. And landowner was able to get this piece of land here. It was his grandfather's, and keep it in the family, and he's just trying to make it where there's available water. He can lease it out, the pasture. It's got some cultivated ground over here on the other side of this brush, but he needs water for not only if he leases it out for cattle, but also for the wildlife and everything. And I looked at this pond here 2 weeks ago, and it's an older pond, but it'll still hold plenty of water. It just hasn't rained enough to fill it up. I mean, it's not silted in. It'll hold a lot of water, so I told him he'd be better off just spend his money on something else. But he's got another pretty good sized dam. When this thing spills, it goes into this dam and it catches water from another watershed. So we're going to go over there, and I'll show you what we're going to do when we get over. I'm going to stay inside the cab because it is windy outside. It has finally warmed up. We've been in a deep freeze for the last 3 days, getting down at 8 at night and up to 12 and 13 during the day. And I know that's nothing for people up north, but this is Texas, north central Texas. It ain't the Panhandle, so that's cold for here. So anyway, everything's kind of thawed out. I did get my Dozer in time to change the final drive oil. I was dreading that. Finished the other job, but like I said, where we'd been for 2 months. Got in, it was like 40 something degrees that day, or 50. I was able to get everything washed out, get my oil changed because I'd run that morning until dinner. Then I finished up and went and got it and brought it to the shop. Got that changed because that would have been a nightmare trying to change 80, 90 weight oil when it's 8 degrees. That just don't work too good. So got it done and had it in the shop so I could do some other stuff to it. And so it was in there for 3 days. It didn't get above freezing, so everything was plugged in and trying to keep from freezing. So anyway, got the service work done that I was needing to do to this thing, and moved out here just right before dinner, and just went in and got my pickup. So we're gonna go down here and I'll show you what we're going to do to this lake down here. Probably can't see it, but right down through there, that's the tail end of the lake that we're going to be working on. It backs all the way up around this brush here. It's got 2 or 3 holes in it. It's been cleaned out a couple times and dug on a couple times. He don't mind the different variations of the holes. Some of them shallower and some of them deeper. That way that's what he wants for fishing and stuff. So I'm gonna try to get in the middle of it. The middle had nothing done to it. Got plenty of room to dig a deep hole there, maybe where we get him some water there. It's pretty low right now. I mean, I hadn't done no elevation shooting to see how much water it will hold, or where it's at below the spillway, but it's pretty low right now. So if I can get him a pretty good hole, he'll have a deep hole of water. here's a terrace that goes around this hill, catches the water and brings it back to this pond, and it comes in right here. But this is fixing to go up on the dam of it right now. Goes back there pretty good ways, almost to the back of that other one that we was at. This is one hole that they dug at some time and kind of fixed this right here where we're driving. It may have been getting low, but they put the dirt there. Then down there's another place they dug it out, and he remembers that when he was young. He said they were out here with a mud bucket and drug that out and put it over the dam, and that could have been 40 years ago, and we had a mud bucket back then, so maybe we was out here, and I just can't remember everything what we done back 50 years ago. So but that's still a pretty deep hole. I don't know how much water's in it, but that part's been cleaned out. But this section between this hole and this hole has never been dug out. And then over there's been a slit dug. Used to be a diving board over there, but the spillway is up through there where that diving board used to be, that metal deal. So the tank's pretty low. I mean, it could be 7 foot low. I mean, you can see where the cattails and stuff stands, where the water stands. I mean, the dam's in pretty good shape, but I'll just take all this dirt and lay it over here and put it behind the dam and just cover up them trees. And you can see the hogs have been up here rooting around on this dam. They did all that right there. I mean, them rascals can tear some stuff up. But it goes way back there, goes to a point back there, and I'm probably just going to sit here in between these two holes and maybe go back about 160 foot, and it's probably about 160 foot across the top, and just dig this center out here and just put the dirt behind the dam, on top of the dam, then behind the dam. And that's probably going to make it, that'll make his deep hole being right in the middle. And then whenever it's full, I mean, if the tank's 7 foot low and I dig a hole 14 foot low, that's going to be 21 foot of water in this thing when it's full here. But he likes the, like I said, he likes the different variations of holes for fishing and everything. Then that stands water way back in there. That's some shallow stuff. He can always dig that out later if he wants it a little bit deeper. But the dirt they got out of this hole, they kind of raised the dam up right through here, and I'll raise it up back here in the middle, kind of make it look the same. So it's a pretty deep hole behind the dam here, so quite a bit of dirt in this thing. And then there's another pond down there. That's so if something's, all that field over there, cultivated ground, goes with this place. So if there's cattle grazing over there, they can go back here to that pond right through there and get water and not have to come into this big pasture here. But there's been quite a bit of dirt taken out of this hole right here. You can tell it was mud and stuff. Now the tank had trees covered up, and when they opened up the road, that's where that piles of dirt come through there. But that's a pretty good hole behind the dam. Like I say, this dam's in good shape right here. I mean, it's nice and wide, got plenty of freeboard. See, here's a hole that was dug out at one time and the dirt put up here. Maybe the spillway could have been washing out or something. That's the spillway where it goes around. We're not going to touch that because them trees is going to hold that. That may have been what they dug this little old hole out here for and put the dirt over here to extend this dam or something. But them trees are going to hold that ground there, so from washing fishing, but I mean, right here's the spillway. Water stands to right here when that thing's full, so just gonna leave all that alone and dig over there where no hole has been dug yet. So I think the boat has seen better days. I don't even know if it's got a bottom in it. So anyway, that's the next project. I'm gonna try to get it marked off and kind of get it laid out like I want it today. Might get a little bit dug out. Thing catches water other than what comes out of that other pond. There could be 800-900 acres of drainage, because the highway up there, then it catches water off the other side of the highway and it comes down through here. So that's a nice looking tank when it's full. A little small lake probably. Might be 5 acres. Said he caught some fish out of that here a month or so ago, so they're still, it's deep enough the fish ain't died in there yet. So you can tell that's mud that they pulled out. Them trees come up and grown up, but that green grass is mud stuff that was pulled out of this tank, and they just let it run down through there. So be putting dirt from here to where we come up on the dam then, and be raising this dam a little bit. It probably won't hurt a thing, because that water's standing right there where the weeds are. So, cattails, I guess what it is. I don't know how close I can get to that, depending on how muddy that is down there. Anyway, that's the next little project we're going to start today, so we'll let y'all see some of that as we get it underway. Thanks for watching. Welcome to Dunsmore Moving Dirt. We've got a little bit of a hole dug before it got dark last night. Got a pretty good little start at it right there. I'm just going to dig that half of it and for now and go all the way back to that pink flag. It's back there, and that'll be about half the hole, and just keep raising this dam up. So I'm going to set that up on time lapse this morning, let you see some of that. Bye. moving dirt. It's a beautiful day out here on the Enlarging the Lake project, but the sun's shining, but when you outside it's 18 degrees and it feels like it's 3 degrees, so looks are deceiving, but just seeing the sunshine helps it warm up a little bit. So anyway, we're gonna start again in the hole, and I'll show you when I get down there why I'm doing what I'm doing. But I got to thinking this morning when I first started running the Dozer. I started to say I don't miss the days back when I started that we didn't have a cab, but if you say that, then you don't really appreciate what you got today if you never had to sit on a hunk of steel when it was 19 degrees and a wind chill. And learned a lot. Learned that this is what I wanted to do for a living, and that pretty well calls the shots when you decide if that's what you want to do. I mean, probably we didn't have a cab for probably the first 25 years, I guess. You got used to it. It didn't kill me. I'm still here. So there was some nice days, but there was some miserable days when it was cold, and then when it was hot, and then dust and dirt, and trees and stickers, and everything like that. But it was a learning experience, I'll put it that way. So what everybody wanted to do, when they got cold, they wanted to get the pickup and warm up. Well, that's good until you get right back out in it, and it seems like it's twice as cold once you get the pickup and warm up. So I tried to never get into the pickup till it was ready to go home. Now I would get off and get out of the wind a little bit, but never get in the pickup where it get too hot, because one thing that gets you sick, and then when you get back out in it, it feels like it's twice as cold as it really is. So anyway, the warmest place that it seemed like you could get without getting in a pickup is when you was, if it wasn't cloudy and the sun was shining, you'd during the winter time you could point your Dozer facing south, which would knock the north wind off of you. And then here's one reason for keeping your blade shiny, because in the winter time, of course, the sun's pretty much in the south, in our part of the world, north central Texas, so you could get out of the wind and you could sit down in front of that blade, and it would be like you was on a tanning bed. I mean, the reflection of that sun, and it was so warm sitting in front of that blade. So usually that's where I'd eat my dinner. I'd point my Dozer to the south as the sun was shining and get off and sit in front of that blade, and your back would actually start to warm because you could feel that heat coming off of that blade and stuff. So that's why I say keep your blade shiny, because I knew that's one way to stay warm in the winter time. So anyway, I don't think I could do it again. I guess I would probably, I'm hard-headed enough, I'd at least try it, you know, but don't have to do it again no more. But whenever you think you've got it pretty tough, just remember there's always somebody else that's got it a whole lot harder than you. So anyway, like I say, them days are over. I've got a nice cab, got a nice heater, got a seat warmer in there. You do get a whole lot more work done because you don't want to get out of the bulldozer. You just sit in here. I'll get my dinner, and I'll eat my dinner in the bulldozer. Just keep plugging along till it gets dark. So that's the tips for the day, this cold winter day. So anyway, we've got rain in the forecast for probably start Monday for probably 4 days. So that's why I'm just sitting over here on this end of this hole. This is going to be one side of the hole, and the other side will be over here next to this body of water. So what I'm going to do, I'm just digging this down as deep as I can. I'm going to dig all day today over here and part of the day tomorrow, and then that way if it does rain, which they just say rain shower, so I don't look like it's going to run no water, but if it did, it would stay over here on this side of the hole, and I won't even have to get back in it, and I've still got all of this room. I can still go down and get it deeper. So that's why I'm just sitting right here and man, yesterday you go through several layers of dirt. It was black, which that's just the topsoil and the old mud that was in there, and then you go through a few layers of rock and stuff, not bad, just scattered, and then you hit in some dirt like it is now. And every now and then I'll rip it, but I've just been sitting in a trough digging, and man, you can just get all the dirt in the world in front of that blade, and it hangs with you till you get on the slope, but then it's almost where you want it anyway. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep letting this slope come down, and after a bit, maybe later today, I'll get some of that starting to slope down. But I'm just going to sit here and see how deep I can get this in case it does rain. And it's going to work out pretty good. This hole is going to tie into this hole right here, so that'll always drain into here if it ever starts going down again the next drought, and then most of this will all drain down into here. So this should be the deepest hole. It should always have water in it. And when I finish up, I may get over here next to where that water is there, that little piece of ground there, and dip that out a little bit more. I don't really want to drain any water because I know that hole's got some fish in there, and this is what he wanted. He wanted different elevations of depth in this thing for fish habitat and stuff, so he's going to have it. But this should always have water in it, this big hole here in the center, so everything else will drain down to it except for these two holes on the edge. And if it warms up before I finish, I may try to figure out how deep that water is over there. Sometimes you can take some of that ribbon and tie a rock or something, just measure off kind of how much, if you think it's 4 foot or 5 foot, measure that off and throw it out there, and then what that ribbon will float up to the top, what's not sitting on the bottom, and you can kind of see how deep it is. So that's going to work out just right, putting the dirt on the dam. That's going to raise that dam probably a little higher than this is over here. There's plenty of freeboard over there. You can tell from where the weeds was growing, but starting right there where I started putting that grass, it didn't have just a whole lot of freeboard from the water. So it will now when we get all that done. So anyway, I'm gonna start digging. I may rip it up once and start digging. I'll let y'all stay in the cab for a while this morning. You know, you may not be used to the cold weather. So anyway, we'll let you see some of that later. Bye. both little sides of the hole here where we're enlarging this small lake. Morning, welcome to Dunsmore Moving Dirt. We're back out here this morning, kind of going to just shape the hole up a little bit, get it cleaned up, not leave no loose dirt in it in case it's raining Monday morning when we get back out here. So anyway, it's the water kind of starts to thaw out around the edges during the day, and then it refreezes at night. It's 18 degrees right now. Wind chill's about 9, so but it's comfortable inside the bulldozer. So that hole's getting pretty deep there below the water. I don't know what it is yet. I'll still go deeper. That's some good digging stuff down there. It's good old red clay, and I'm just going to keep letting this slope go on down and then try to clean it up and kind of shape it up here a little bit. That'll probably just be blade, maybe 2 blades wide in the bottom, and I'll clean it up, and then if it happens to rain enough to run water, everything will be over here and I can still dig all this out on the other side. Like I say, I doubt if it's going to rain much, but never can tell. This is Texas, so we're due a good one sometime, but it's probably going to be this spring before we get one. So anyway, we'll set the camera up here after a little bit and it warms up a little bit. Let y'all see some of that as we're taking this down. Seems like the more, I guess I'm moving uphill, and when I go toward this other hole, it seems like I flip up more rocks and stuff out of the hole, which that's higher ground. I mean, where I'm parked is a whole lot higher ground than this. I mean, we're starting to go into that hill. Seemed like every time they enlarged it, they kept moving up to the going up top of the hill and tying the dam up a little bit higher. So like I say, it's still good digging. So anyway, we're gonna get started and let it warm up. We'll let y'all see some of that later. Bye. The ground is smoking a little bit when you rip it. I guess it's way warmer underneath where I ripped it than it is the air temperature, but I don't know if that's going to show up or not.